you. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Transvestism is defined in the dictionary as the abnormal desire to dress in the clothing of the opposite sex. But how abnormal is it?
This morning, we'll talk with two transvestites and a psychologist to find out if gender is really just a state of mind.
Ghost hunter Hans Holzer will explain the good and evil spirits of Halloween.
And a bee-bearding champion will join us with 40,000 bees.
Head all live and all next. You stay there.
How come Dunkin' Donuts are so fresh all the time?
Studios of Channel 7, it's Detroit's only live morning talk show, the award-winning Kelly and Company.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the Friday edition of Kelly and Company. Have you ever been out, like I say, at a picnic? You're sitting around the grass, and a bee comes around, and he's just hanging around the sandwich and trying to get... You hate that, and you brush away at it, but you're a little careful about it. Or maybe one flies in your car when you're on the freeway and you can't get rid of it. And there's one of those. Yeah, see, here. Well, that's one. How would you like it if there were thousands of them hanging on you, and you did it deliberately? That's what our first guest does. He's a student at Penn State, and he is absolutely... I didn't even know they had competition here, but he is the bee-bearding champion of the world. It's an interesting sport. He's right over here. His name is Max Beck. Take a good look at Max. This is how he looks without bees. In a few minutes, you won't recognize him, but welcome him to Kelly and Company. Max, one question.
Yeah.
What got you started in this thing, Max?
Well, I started working with the honeybees about 10 years ago, and I was watching my uncle...
Quit leaving me, Max. Hang in here.
Okay.
Okay. I'm leaving you very shortly.
I was watching my uncle. He's a commercial beekeeper working in the bee yards one day, and
Right.
for some reason, a hive just swarmed on his armpit. They just clustered around his armpit, and it just fascinated me. So ever since then, I started working with the bees, and past 2 years, I've been doing the bee beard just for fun.
I don't know. Uncle, it seemed to me to be easier using the Menon speed stick. Okay. What's your uncle's name?
Bob Harvey. This is Bob Harvey.
Hi, Mr. Harvey. You going to stay in there with Max?
I will.
I will not. Okay, Max, go ahead. You get
Okay.
inside this. This is a very interesting structure here that they use. I'm not sure whether it's to protect us or the bees. We'll be talking to Max as this progresses. What do you do first, Max?
The first thing I do is put tape around my pant legs, and then we tie the queen bee around my chin. The queen's in this little cage that has a screen on one side, and she gives off a pheromone. So when we dump the rest of the bees out here, they catch her scent and they just crawl right up and cluster around her.
Max, you ever get stung?
I get stung a couple times doing this, but normally when you do a bee beard, you never get stung. Because when you have them swarming like this, they're not aggressive at all.
They're not aggressive, eh?
No.
They're looking for the queen, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, I don't want to... Go ahead, guys.
Everybody ready?
Don, yeah. He's shaking them up.
Right here.
How about you, Don? You don't... Doesn't bother you? Okay. They don't want to come out. Put it on the floor and then pick it up. Oh, that thing's a little stuck on there, huh?
I guess it's got honey in it.
The tape keeps it around it, yeah. Take your time, guys, really. No? Oh, God.
Got one right in the eye, Bob. Yeah, just flew up there. Can you get him?
Fingers out.
Okay.
All right, hold her up there.
How's that?
Kind of scraping them toward you there, is that the...
Yeah.
You don't have to open your mouth, Max.
Okay. Well,
You can talk?
Now I can talk better.
Okay, we'll let him settle down, boy.
They're flying real good, aren't they? Oh, well, don't worry about it.
One of them wants to go in his ear. they bother you at all, Don?
Yeah, I can talk. No, it feels warm and fuzzy. It's interesting.
Warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
So does a teddy bear.
I can feel about 8 pounds of bees here. It's about 40,000 honeybees.
How many, about 5,000 a pound then?
Yeah, that's about right.
Is it? Go ahead, Max.
In August, I broke the world's record. I doubled it. That I did a 20-pound beard, and those bees covered me from head to toe.
Oh.
That was about 20 pounds of bees. How's that?
Are they attracted to the queen? Is that the whole idea of this maneuver?
That's why they're hanging on me. Yeah,
now, it's air conditioned in here, but we do have warm lights, and I noticed them moving up toward that light.
Yeah, they'll fly towards the lights. It's no problem.
No problem. Do they get excited?
In general, we always fly towards the lights when you haven't been doing it.
Why am I standing here this close?
Why don't you come in a cage?
Why don't I come in a cage? I do my job, Max. You do yours. Look at all over the floor. Now these really are not attacking type bees, are
No,
they?
these are honeybees. They'll only sting you to protect their home, and when they sting you, they die within about 3 minutes after they sting you. Wasps and yellow jackets are the ones that bug you on picnics. They're the ones that will attack you when you're not even near their home.
Are they kind of thinking now you are their home?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just keep
Wherever the
spring-
queen is where they'll go.
Now I read about this, and they called it a sport. Do you consider this a sport?
Why not?
Why not?
I don't know what you want to call it.
I'd call it madness, Max, but we've already got a Mad Max, so I guess we'll just keep this one at a sport. This is just amazing. You look like you got a few pounds on you now.
Yeah, I can feel them pulling on every pore of my skin. It's a strange feeling. It's like I have an itchy beard.
Yeah. It's interesting. They're avoiding your ears.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. Once climbed, they tend to hang together too. Are they all looking for the queen? Is that it?
Yeah, what they're doing is all regrouping or getting together before they fly off and find a real home. I'm like a temporary regrouping place. Okay, we're getting there.
Can you hear Max all right with his microphone above the buzzing? I have one question, Max. Max,
Yeah, go ahead.
how do you get them off when you're all through with this?
We have a bee vacuum cleaner. Just sucks them right off.
Bee vacuum cleaner sucks them right off, eh? Well, are they settled down enough for you to walk out
We're
among
going to wet them down, and then I'll come on out there.
You're going to wet them down?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's sugar water in that container there, and that wets their wings so they can't fly.
Well, how about the ones that are loose flying around in there, guys?
Well, a couple of them may get out.
A couple of them make it out.
They'll just fly to the lights.
They'll just fly to the lights.
Right.
Okay. How about the lights in Toledo? Head them there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, about ready to go then?
Anytime you guys are. How about I'm across his back there?
Okay. Ready?
Sugar water. Here comes
That's
Max.
over there when you want. All right.
And there goes John.
Yeah, it's really hollow over it. Send you home there.
Here he is, the bee birding champion of the world. Max Beck.
Would you like to stroke it?
What?
Would you like to stroke the beard?
Stroke the beard?
Yeah. Go ahead. Feel it. It's warm and fuzzy.
There's one coming around me now.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Warm and fuzzy. Gently.
You feel it?
Yeah, I felt it. I tell you, we knew that a vacuum cleaner was used to draw the bees off. So we have a camera crew waiting outside the studio, and we're going to videotape that event as the program goes along, and we'll show it to you to finish the Kelly Company. In the meantime, so long, Max. We'll be right back.
Coming up next, we'll find out why some men decide to dress in women's clothing. Transvestites. Next.
You know and I know that when it comes to buying vinyl floor tile, you want the best quality at the lowest possible price. Okay, so come to K&K. See their selection of Sunshine vinyl floor tile. It's the finest value anywhere. The patterns, the colors, the quality of Sunshine vinyl floor tile is absolutely tops. Right now, get your Sunshine vinyl tile at a special sale price only at K&K. This sale ends soon, so hurry.
K&K, the Tile Depot.
Now at Renault and Jeep dealers, low financing on most 86 Renault and Jeep models. 8.8% on Renault Alliance convertibles and Alliance sedans. On Renault Encore hatchbacks, save $934 on Alliance convertible. And get 8.8 on 2- or 4-wheel drive Jeep Comanche. Take advantage of 8.8 on Jeep Cherokee. Save $1,300 on a Jeep Wagoneer.
Free 8.8% ends soon. See your Detroit area Jeep and Renault dealer today.
Every winter day, a ritual takes place in homes. Bundling up kids to go outside. But no amount of bundling can stop the cold completely. That's why there's Malt-O-Meal hot cereal. Double flavored with wheat and malt to taste great and help keep kids warm on the inside.
I think I need some more Malt-O-Meal.
Bundle up on the inside with Malt-O-Meal hot cereal.
I may look rich, but I'm not. I just know how to decorate rich. Look what I found today. Ready-made blinds by Levolor. They come in popular sizes and are very affordable. They're so easy to hang, so smart-looking, and they're real Levolor blinds, not imitations. How to decorate rich when you're not. Ready-made blinds by Levolor.
Busy day today. Today, I'm going to help find a cure for heart disease. Today, I'm going to help an abused child. Today, I'm going to help a handicapped person walk. Today, I'm going to help some kid find a big brother. Today, I'm signing my Torch Drive pledge card. Today's the day. What a difference a day makes.
Love relationships are hard to understand, really, no matter what. But now more than ever before, we're seeing different types of couples and sexual preferences coming out of the closet. Why do some men choose to dress like women? Do women appreciate that? And is it done to enhance sexual desires? With us this morning to help us better understand what transvestism is are Grace, a married transvestite, and Alicia, who is a gay transvestite. Please welcome them to Kellyanne. You see that bee thing? Ooh, I got my fly swatter here. Anybody? There's a few strays floating around up there. Well, Grace, define transvestite for me.
I think the most generic term for transvestite would be a person who wears the clothing of the opposite sex, irregardless of fantasies, sexual preference, anything else. This has been amended by some of the people around the country to say that it's a person who wears the clothing of the opposite sex but gets some sort of emotional high from this.
Okay. How long have you been dressing this way?
I've been cross-dressing now for 38 years. I started when I was 6 years old.
Did your parents think that was a little strange?
Yeah, but at that time, it was funny. They laughed at it. And I got embarrassed.
When did they stop laughing?
They didn't have a chance to, because I went underground pretty fast. And from then on, I kept my own desires hidden to myself until I came out of the closet just a little less than 10 years ago.
How often do you do this?
Generally about once a week if I have a chance.
If you have a chance. What gives you a chance?
Family situation, time, money, some event that's nice to go to.
Some event. Now, you are married.
Yes.
You've been married for, I think, 18 years?
Yes.
what does your wife think? Did she, well, you were a transvestite when you married her.
Yes, I was.
How does she feel about that?
She does not like the idea one bit. And this has been a constant source of irritation in our marriage. I'd like to say that I have a perfect marriage, everything's hunky-dory, but the ideal marriage is something that doesn't really exist. We have our problems, yes, and basically they're problems that are caused by my own transvestism. She does not like it. She knew about it when we got married. She said, let's talk about it later.
She thought she'd fix it.
She thought she'd fix it. Didn't work that way. In effect, it enhanced it. Living with the woman made me feel more like I wanted to be like her.
When you make love, do you think like a man, or think
Most
like...
of the time, yeah. Most of the time.
If you have just dressed as a woman that day, do you tend to think more like a woman?
There's some carryover.
In other words, does the way you make love change?
No, it doesn't really change. Sometimes my attitudes change for a little while. But the physical act of love is about the same.
Alicia, how do you define a transvestite?
I would pretty much concur with what Grace has said. A very simple definition would be one who does cross-dress. And I can agree for whatever reason, and which there are many reasons why people will do this. For some, it is a sexual gratification. There is that fetishistic nature in it. For myself, it's simply a release, allowing a part of me that I suppress on a daily basis to finally come out, to emerge, and to enjoy that part of my personality, as well as my male personality.
When did you realize you were gay?
I came out in 1978 after 2 years of marriage, a heterosexual marriage. As it happened, my first lover was also a transvestite, and I used to watch Terry getting ready all the time. And one time, a bunch of us were going out together. I was the only one in a suit and tie, and they were kidding me like, come on, go in the tub, shave your legs, your arms, whatever. We've got outfits, we've got hair. And I did, and I found that I very much enjoyed what I was feeling. I had only felt that one other time, and that was when I was 16, and it was Halloween, and I was out trick-or-treating with a bunch of kids from high school, and I had borrowed an outfit from my mother. And I felt the same feelings again that I had felt previously, only stronger, and I could recognize them at that point.
You know, we usually think of a transvestite as a straight man who enjoys sex with a woman, but likes to dress up like a woman. Now, you are not that straight man. You're a gay man. Why do you want to dress up? I mean, why put women's clothes on? Because you don't want to be, you don't like
For
them.
the same reason that any transvestite would dress, I think for myself it's simply an expression of that portion of my personality. All of us, whether we are gay or straight, male or female, have both a masculine and feminine side to us. Society tells us that we must repress certain characteristics if we are to fit in, if we are to be accepted. For me to cross-dress is simply giving myself permission, giving my emotions permission to be expressed in a way that I would not normally.
Do people say things to you?
Yes, we hear it all the time in the streets.
They make fun of you?
Yes, very common. In fact, I've been threatened with physical assaults. I've had rocks thrown at me. I've been hit with eggs on the street. I'm really amazed at how insensitive and aggressive people can be when their own sexuality may be threatened in some way or another.
Do you feel that you're threatening most people's sexuality?
No, no. I don't feel that way myself.
Why
I
do
feel
you?
that I'm enjoying myself in my own way, and I wish people would let me alone.
Why do you think that we are threatened?
I have a tendency to feel that it's the emphasis placed on the male portion of the society. The macho society itself doesn't like anything that would conflict with it. And it's a very nebulous little philosophy, and it's hard to explain unless I have got a couple hours to do it. But I do feel that the macho society, the male chauvinist pig society, you might say, is highly opposed to anything feminine. Feminine values, femininity in appearance even in some cases.
Have you had problems, really bad problems?
I think the worst problem I ever had was one time when I was walking down the street in Flint, and a group of kids from a church school bus hollered out the window, "Hey, hooker."
We're talking about TJ.
And then as I got farther down the street, a guy started following me in his car on the sidewalk. I just looked at him like, "Get away from here, Turk. Here, I'll hit you over the head with my purse."
We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk more about this.
She had a dream that showed her being in a train wreck. Weeks later, it actually happened. On Monday, Pearl Bailey tells of that horrible morning her train jumped the track.
I'm so glad you two could come over. Can I have another cup of cocoa? He never asks for a second cup of my cocoa. Come here. Don't you use New Hills Brothers cocoa? You mean Hills Brothers makes cocoa now?
Introducing Hills Brothers old-fashioned cocoa with real Dutch cocoa that makes it rich and chocolatey. And new sugar-free Hills Brothers cocoa with NutraSweet.
Where'd you get it? Mine.
John Kelly for Century Mortgage.
All of us can have problems, like too many bills, credit cards, monthly payments. You can get in over your head. And that's when you need the financial strength of Century Mortgage. Using the equity in your home, Century's professionals can get you the money to pay off your debts and leave you with one easy monthly payment. A phone call is all it takes. So call Century now at 352-6060. Century Mortgage, the money you need for your financial strength.
This is National Lupus Awareness Week. The Michigan Lupus Foundation will sponsor Lupus Awareness Day in the Eastland Center Auditorium Saturday, October 26th between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Free screening for lupus will be offered. Lupus is a chronic inflammatory autoimmune disease that is often misdiagnosed. For more information, call 775-8310.
Stop. Time to shape up your hair and skin. It's the Clairol Free for Fall at Kmart. Save once with Kmart coupons. Check your mail. Buy 4 items, save twice with a rebate from Clairol. Then sea breeze your skin. Color and brighten your hair. Bounce it up. Keep it that way. The Clairol Free for Fall. You can't find a smarter way to save or look your best. You can't do better than Kmart, the saving place.
This is Bill Bonds. With strikes against Chrysler now just about history, the UAW resumes talks with General Dynamics. The Soviets react to President Reagan's call for a new approach to the world's trouble spots and to peace. Dr. Jose Tambo's lawyer in court arguing the doctor should not have been suspended from Northville recently. An elderly Detroit man in court for shooting and killing a man on a DOT bus. South Africa's violent turmoil continues, and so does the World Series as the Royals hang tough. News, sports, and weather and much more tonight at 5, right here on 7.
We're being joined by Dr. Sam Janis, who is a psychologist. Sam, is cross-dressing more common than we think it is?
Many more people are coming out of the closet, supposedly, these days. It's been a fetish that's been many people have known for thousands of years, but it was in the closet literally, where people would put it on because they felt good about it. There is some inner feeling that makes you feel good, or you wouldn't do it in the first place. It's become almost fashionable in some circles. You know, there's always been Halloween, and there are other times comedians, you know, from Milton Berle, Flip Wilson, everybody likes to kind of dress and drag. The movie Tootsie did a great deal for it also. And it's kind of much more accepted, and it's kind of a goof. It's not as threatening as some other sexual things are, and many people accept it.
Do most transvestites do this once a week, like Grace was saying, or if they do it more than that, then is there a problem?
There really isn't a numerical thing. You can't say once a week, once every 2 weeks. People do it when they feel the urge. For some people, they may go longer periods of time without feeling the urge. For others, it's a necessary thing much more frequently. The cross-dressing is something that usually find people gravitate to large cities, because in small towns they aren't too fond of it. But there is a great deal about it that we really aren't, you know, in touch with, other than the fact, for example, that when a little boy, his mother comes in and she finds him with her nail polish on, or her wig or her dress, she'll flip out, she'll scream. But a little girl can dress in boys' clothes. That's fine. Being a tomboy is okay, being a sissy is not.
That is interesting, because are there as many women that dress as men?
You see, not as many, but since it is okay, male behavior and being males are favored, so the women that dress as men, or partially, women can wear pants, women can wear men's garb. Nobody will, you know, look at it and say, oh my goodness, look at that. Two women can dance on the dance floor together. I think there are many more women that dress partially as men without any problem at all, but there are many more men that dress fully in the sense of wanting to look like a woman. Women don't dress to look like a man. They dress because it's men's garb. Girl in high school can put on her father's shirt and get away and go to school. Little boy who tries to put on his mother's blouse will have big trouble in school.
Is it kind of a mind frame thing? Just
A mind what?
a mind framing thing?
Yes.
You sort of get...
Whether you would say mind frame, the original impulse that drives kids to try this, and they usually try it as kids and they do it as a goof. It feels good, they find. Put it on, and I've interviewed so many of them. There's a whole show in New York called the 82 Club, without all transsexuals or transvestites in various stages of surgery. And they will tell you that when they put on their mother's wig, or the mother's blouse, or the mother's panties, gee, that felt so calm. They all describe the same thing, an inner calm, a good feeling of, that's the real me. And from then on, they would kind of do it secretly till the parents found out, and depending on what the parents' reaction was, I'll kill you if I ever see you, I'll drag you to a shrink, you know, something like that, depending on what they did, whether they tried to kill the impulse or just went with it.
Do you feel that way? Does that make you feel good?
Yes, yes, it does.
Very much so.
Do you wear very feminine underwear?
You mean under my business suit?
No, under that.
It's definitely not boxer shorts.
That's kind of what I had in mind. I was wondering.
No.
And that feels good.
Yes. Have you heard the famous, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You heard the famous joke about Lady Astor came home and saw her butler and said to her butler, take off my blouse, take off my skirt, take off my slip, and if I ever catch you in my clothes again.
Now, Grace, I understand you are kind of thinking about a sex change.
I've considered it very seriously in the past. I might again in the future sometime when my kids are grown up and going away from home. Right now the jury's kind of out.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't like this person. I don't like the person that wears the business suit every day. I feel that I'm a little bit better than that.
A little bit better?
Yes.
What's wrong with the business suit and the man?
I have to shepherd a crew of people around all night long. Push them here, push them there, get them to do this, get them to do that. I don't feel that I'm naturally a pushy person. This goes a little bit counter toward what I feel that I am inside. And I feel that by being a little bit softer, more feminine, I'm more in tune with what I am inside.
So you have considered this. Have you talked about this with your wife?
Yes. She says, if you go on anything about this at all, that's the end of us.
I'm amazed that you're still together.
So am I.
Why are you?
Well, there's still a lot of affection between us.
Do you think, either one of you think that you're hurting anybody by doing this?
I don't believe so, because the only one I could be hurting is myself. And the only way I could do that would be to put myself in a potentially dangerous situation, such as going to a heterosexual bar and possibly trying to get picked up by a man. I would never do that. But my dressing in and of itself, I don't feel harms me. It does not harm my lover. It does not harm the people that I work with or that I associate with in my free time.
But you have children.
I have children, yes. 2 boys, 12 and 14 right now.
Don't you think this is a little confusing?
They haven't seen me. They don't know. They've seen me a couple times at Halloween, but they don't know the full extent of it. My wife says that I will not tell them I have not.
So they don't really know?
No, they
How
don't
old
know.
are they?
12 and 14.
Boy, now that's a very interesting age. That's tough. So you've got to be worried about that.
Yes, a little bit.
Sam?
See, Marilyn, everybody, I think most of your audience has probably heard of Renee Richards, the famous eye doctor, tennis player who converted, had sexual surgery. He has a little boy also, and when he was going to visit his son for years, he would put on men's clothes. Even though he was now dressing fully as a woman, had sex, and he would put it on because they felt they didn't want to confuse a child. But what Alicia was saying is true, that the way they will usually get hurt or be provocative, let's say if he goes to a bar, picks up a Marine, kid's drunk, wakes up, is, oh my God, who am I with? That's a time one can get seriously injured or killed.
Are women turned on by transvestites?
Some are. Some are. I think the whole idea is kind of cool. Others, it's a complete turn-off. It varies, with all shades of difference in between, too.
Do you mess around?
I have.
Ah, this is getting really confusing, isn't it? I'll tell you. I hope am I keeping this all straight in my head?
Straight is a kind of pun on it.
Pardon the expression.
Yes.
We're going to take a break here. I'm taking a break here. I need it. We'll be back in a moment.
From her laugh-in Sakatumi days to her marriage to Burt Reynolds, Judy Carn has had an amazing life. She'll tell of the times her days weren't all laughs and smiles Monday.
Gigantic art sale for one day only this Sunday. The original collector's art sale returns to the Detroit area to sell out over 2,000 beautiful oil paintings at $29 or less. Giant super-size oils, $29. Incredible. Plus collector's art's huge collection of gallery oils like you see here at a fraction of their retail value. Don't miss this opportunity to save on fine art. This Sunday only, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. In Roseville at the Georgian Inn, in Dearborn at the Holiday Inn, in Farmington Hills at the Holiday Inn, and in Troy at the Holiday Inn.
Chemical warfare is threatening the fabric of some of America's clothes. The enemy is chlorine bleach, a liquid that can attack colors and delicate whites. But there is a bleach that is safe for all your colors, all your whites. Boratine Bleach, the safe great white.
Citizens for Better Care provides information to help people choose a nursing home or other long-term care service. It assists people who may have complaints about care in nursing homes, homes for the aged, and adult foster care facilities. It offers help to those planning care for an older or disabled adult. For more information, call 962-5968, a Torch Drive agency.
Alcohol, drugs, they aren't problems that a bartender or friend can help you with. Talk to a professional, someone who listens, someone who cares. I'm Dr. Joel Dreyer of Inner Visions, a neuropsychiatric clinic where you can go when you're depressed, drinking, or on drugs. Don't let your marriage or your job suffer from alcohol or drugs.
Call Inner Visions, 358-5151. Drinking and drug problems are covered by health insurance by law.
Talk to a professional.
You know they're coming in the fourth. Bring me some more of
It's
those.
Art Van's unlimited clearance.
What do you have?
2 Bassett, 1 Broyhill. Friday, 4 p.m. to 10 at Art Van.
We're overstocked.
Now, even further reductions, savings to 64%. Selection is going fast. Friday, 4 p.m. till 10, 6 short hours.
Okay, bedroom, living room, dining room, room it out.
You'll find unbelievable price reductions during Art Van store-wide unlimited clearance. Friday, 4 p.m. till 10. Be there.
We're back discussing transvestism. Sam, when someone is a transvestite and then they have a sex change, that's a transsexual, right?
Yes, transsexual is really defined by surgery.
So that really Grace could be on the borderline between transvestism and transsexualism.
Yes, they call these surgery sex reassignment surgery.
Alicia, have you ever thought of having a sex change operation?
No, I have not at any time. I'm very comfortable with my male self and equally comfortable with the female part of my being.
So you really are a true transvestite? What is the true I'm getting a little confused. Now, Grace's case is a little different, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the difference is, you see, that there are, the basic difference generally between transvestites and transsexuals is that transsexuals are very unhappy if they're male to female. There are, you know, the reverse too, female to male, though much smaller in number. But the male to female is generally terribly unhappy being a male, and specifically with having male genitalia. So the male genitalia don't function, they're generally impotent, they hate it. It's as if there's some cancer that's hanging around, and they can't wait to have it removed surgically. Many will save up their pennies and their dollars to try to pay for surgery. In some states, the county or state will pay for it. You don't have to pay for the surgery yourself. Many will go through periods of working as in drag as prostitutes to raise money for their surgery. But they can't stand their male genitals, don't use them. The difference is transvestites, particularly men who are gay transvestites, enjoy their genitalia, like using what they have or God gave them, and there isn't this need to get rid of it, far from it, they value it. So the difference is one regards being a male as a burden, the other regards it as something pleasurable, only their choice is I prefer to be with males and to have sex with males rather than with women.
Now, if you did have the sex change operation, Grace, you would then become something that you don't want to become. I mean, you would be having sex with men then. Yes. And you're getting rid of what you'd be finding sexual pleasure out of with a man.
This is where the borderline comes in. I'm ambivalent both ways, you know, okay? I don't exactly hate my male equipment. I'm not exactly that fond of it either, which kind of puts me in the middle of the whole scheme, okay?
Well, you know, there is actually a very famous case with describing exactly what Grace is thinking of, but actually did. There was a famous case of a music teacher in New Jersey, man 52 years old, who decided he's going to have sex change surgery. And he was fired by the school board. They claimed it was too confusing to children to have him be Paul in the spring, come back next fall, he's Paula. Anyway, he's married, had 2 daughters, and he continued living with his wife, 2 daughters, and mother-in-law. And they were now supposedly still good friends. People wondered why the mother-in-law tolerated it. My own feeling is she wanted to see him castrated long ago. But in any event, they stayed together, which confused people. What did the girl say? Oh, I have 2 mothers? But in any event, he claimed that if anything happened to his wife, she claimed after surgery now, that if anything happened to his wife, he would marry a man. But since they've had so many years together, there is fond feelings, much of what Grace says, they're continuing to live together.
Which is a lot of marriages stay together just for those reasons, children, right?
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
Sure. I may be oversimplifying, but I have 2 questions. One for the doctor and one for Grace.
Go ahead, simplify it for us.
Okay. First of all, to Grace, do you feel as though in some way that long ago that you had some deep artistical ability to express yourself? You might have, maybe I'm making your feelings seem kind of simple, but did you make a left turn when you should have made a right, or, you know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, great people are sculptors, artists, musicians. I mean, some people channel their energies to, you know, different forms.
I'm also a visual artist in the sense that I'm fairly well known in some circles as a photographer, which contradicts with my own basic employment as in data processing. So there are multi-dimensions here we're talking about. I feel that the left turn was made for me before I was born.
Oh,
okay.
That's fantastic, because I got a question for the doctor now. Okay. Doc, as you know, there are sex hormones. You got estrogens and what's there's female hormones and there's
male hormones.
Male hormones.
Male hormones, testosterone.
Sure. Now, biologically, for a man to be a man and a woman to be a woman, they have a little bit of both, but one is predominant.
Correct.
There's an imbalance if there's a man that has these sex cells, but there's more female sex cells in them. What I'm trying to say, is it nature or nurture?
Okay. Very good question. What you find with true transsexuals and transvestites is that they have the normal biological balance. What many transsexuals do, in fact, most places before they do surgery, when Johns Hopkins University was doing it, is they require them to pass as women for a certain period of time, 2 or 3 years. Many of them take hormones. That is, the men will take female hormones for years before, develop breasts, so that now breasts, they have less facial hair. If they're young enough, let's say 14, 15, 16, their body contour, you know, is that more of a woman than a man instead of the big shoulders that you identify with. So they will usually have taken hormones from the outside. But as far as their basic original hormonal balance, they were perfectly normal biologically. It's a state of mind. These men feel that there's a woman inside that's trapped in the man's body, but that's a psychological, not a physical thing. If it was physical, they would have had surgery earlier. That's called ambiguous genitalia, where they would have been mixed up, but they aren't.
I have 2 questions to the both of you.
Everybody's got 2.
We can only have 1?
Oh, it's okay. In this double-sex question today, 2 is okay.
Oh, okay. First off, with AIDS running so rampant, how do you both feel about that? And to you, Grace, what about when your sons do find out about you?
Okay, I'm trying to prepare them to be very open-minded and very tolerant of others, so that when I do tell them, I will get a tolerant reaction from them.
And about the AIDS?
And about AIDS, I'm not particularly worried about it right now because I don't have any contacts with men.
For myself, obviously as a gay man, I am concerned, which I think any rational thinking person should be, regardless of their sexual orientation. AIDS is a hideous disease. It's a killer. You mention the word, you tell a person they've got AIDS, and you're, in a sense, signing their death warrant. I do try to lessen my risk factors, and that can be in a number of ways. Number one, I would say, predominantly monogamous with my lover. We have been together now for going on a year. We also do practice safe-sex guidelines as put out by CDC, by the Gay Men's Health Crisis, and a number of other organizations. So there are things that I can do to lessen my risk factor.
We're going to take a break here, and we'll be back. We'll be back with you.
7.
This question's to Grace. Okay. How would you feel if you came home one day and your son suddenly found out that you are a transvestite? I mean, aren't you afraid of being on TV and publicizing it?
No, my own appearance is quite different than what you see right here. The makeup and the wig do a lot.
Yeah, but even still, they can still maybe recognize a voice or some kind of familiar trademark.
I don't think my boys would believe it. They're big enough. They're big enough to enforce their viewpoint too.
What would you do if they suddenly decided to do the same thing?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they could come to me for some good counseling as to what to do, when to do it, and get the emotional support they need to.
Would you feel sorry for them if they did want to do what you do?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because nowadays, people are a lot more open. I wouldn't feel as sorry for them as I would myself 30 to 40 years back.
But you have a conflict in your mind.
I have a little conflict, yes.
Don't you think it's more than just a little?
I don't know. I don't know. It hasn't happened
yet.
No,
I'm saying is, would you... I guess what we're trying to say and be nice about, would you want to wish this on anybody else, like your children?
No, I wouldn't want to wish it on anybody else.
Well, how would your wife feel if your son suddenly decided to do the same thing?
I think she'd land on me heavier than she would them.
Because you're trying to, you know, teach them to be a man or to grow up to be that way. I mean, ever since we're born, for a female, you're taught to be feminine. For a male, you're taught to be masculine. And, I mean, you try to teach the boy to...
I've tried to raise my children to be people rather than man or woman as such.
Well, I agree with that, with being people, but, I mean, to dress and relate to other things, I mean, I don't know. I just can't see it. I mean, I know you can do your own thing, okay, but I don't know, I just can't understand why.
Why? I have to be myself, okay? I have to be the person I feel that I am inside.
Do you think, Alicia, do you think that you were born gay or that you learned this? And is it genetic? Do you think it's genetic or environmental?
I believe that our sexual orientation or our sexual preference is something that is inborn. I do, in my own studies and my own reading, most of the information that I've seen would tend to support that. There have been very few cases of learned gay behavior. And there is also the differentiation between natural homosexuality and situational. In a situation where, say, you are incarcerated and deprived of sexual companionship with with a person of your own choosing, you might tend, under that type of circumstance, to experiment along other lines. But immediately upon your release from that type of situation, you would automatically revert back to normal heterosexuality.
And that always happens, does that, Doctor?
Oh, pretty much so. Yeah. People, for example, that have been in jail for long periods of time do, when they leave jail, go back to being straight.
Doctor, you mentioned earlier about transvestites just getting the urge to dress up and then they go ahead and do it. Are there other events that would precipitate that happening, stress in their lives or something like that?
Not really stress in their lives, but what you do find when you say other events is parents' attitude. There are some mothers and or fathers, particularly mothers, that would encourage this kind of thing, that aren't thrilled about males or about aggressive behavior. And these women will subtly or sometimes openly encourage, you look so good, you look even better than me, you're a cute little girl, I like you, you're gentle, you're not rough like the other boys, etc. So there sometimes can be subtle cues from the family.
This is to both of you. When you're out in public and you're dressed up like a lady, you have to go to the bathroom, which one do you go to?
There's a 50-50 chance that it could be yours.
There is an old adage that I learned when I first started going out in drag on a regular basis. Play it straight, go in the ladies' room, close the door, and for God's sakes, honey, sit down. A lot of times, however, it will depend on where we are at and what I know Grace and I both prefer to do is check with somebody in charge, like a manager, a bartender, a security guard, somebody who would be in a position to make that decision and who could also back us up if there was a question later.
Well, I can't imagine why you go in the men's bathroom.
Truthfully, I can't
I tell you, if I was a man in there, how would you like to meet them in the bathroom?
I'd run away.
That's what I mean. I can't imagine why you would go in the men's bathroom. Because, I mean, you go in the women's bathroom, there's a door, right? And you can have some privacy, right?
Right.
You know, Sam, why do we really care what goes on behind closed doors and in the bedroom? Why do we really care about that? People in general.
Well, what happens behind closed doors isn't really that if this becomes acceptable, their own kids, and people do have a vested interest in seeing their little boy grow up to be a real man or their daughter grow up to be a woman, and they're worried that some of this can be a very corrupting influence on their children.
Now, you both belong to Crossroads, do you?
Yes, we
Tell
do.
us about that. That's out of Flint?
Yes. It's the only peer support group for transvestites and transsexuals in this region.
You have about 200 members?
Roughly 150 paid members at this time.
We'll have that. It's Post Office Box, by the way, 1298 Flint, Michigan, and we'll have that on the hotline. I think we're out of time, folks.
It's been a
I
pleasure.
think it is, you know, when it really comes down to it, what it is that bothers people is the fact of children, the child involvement, and what will so-and-so think if he comes home and finds his father dressed as a woman. Thank you both very much, and Sam, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Next Wednesday, Kelly and Company celebrates its 8th anniversary as two Detroiters take John and Marilyn's job for a day and see just what it's really like.
At the game, home, work, or play, wear your favorite NFL team emblem with pride on your authentic Proline cap by AJD. These fully embroidered caps come in corduroy or fully lined nylon with Hairtex reinforced fronts, unbreakable visors, and 8 rows of stitching for durability. Authentic Proline caps come in a wide range of colors and fit all sizes. Check out the full lineup today at your AJD dealer.
Try to remember the first
Harry Belafonte comes to the Premier Center October 25th and 26th for a fabulous show you will never forget. Get your tickets today for Harry Belafonte at the Premier Center. Tickets available at the Premier Center box office, Hudson's, and all Ticket World outlets, AAA outlets, and by phone at 264-1111. That's 264-1111. Mitzi Gaynor also comes to the Premier Center November 5th through the 9th.
There are many and varied types of epilepsy. The Epilepsy Center of Michigan is a specialized medical facility that offers epilepsy diagnosis and treatment for children and adults. For further information about this torch drive agency, call 832-0500.
Honey, how long before dinner?
At least 2 hours.
I'll never make it. I need a snack.
Well, we have peanuts, pretzels, potato chips.
I want something different.
Hold it. I've got just the thing.
Stelladora breadsticks.
Sure, they're tasty, they're light, and they won't spoil your dinner.
They're also great for conducting.
Stelladora breadsticks. They're not just for meals.
This is the freshest fish market of them all. And if you love fresh fish, you'll love New Gorton's Fish Market Fresh. Individually separated, premium frozen fillets. You'll like them better than regular frozen fish because there's no thawing. Only use what you need, leave the rest in the freezer. Then enjoy some of the freshest fillets the sea can offer up. New Gorton's Fish Market Fresh in 5 delicious choices. No thawing, no waiting, just enjoying.
Trust the Gorton's fishermen.
And now it's time for Kelly's Quiz.
Thank you. All this week, we've been marking the 35th anniversary of the Peanuts comic strip. And we're doing it by asking you questions about familiar and relatively obscure aspects of this strip. We're going to do it again today. If you can answer it, you call us at 298-6161. Arthur, let's clear the lines. Here we go. Who does Charlie Brown always have a crush on? While you're thinking about that and placing your calls, here's Al Pinter with what you'll win today if you're first and right.
Thank you, John. Today's Kelly and Company winner will receive a set of 4 Kelly and Company coffee mugs, compliments of WXYZ. John, back to you.
Okay, Al, thank you. 298-6161 is the number. How many of you think you know? Oh, yeah? Huh? Almost half, I think. Well, let's see if we got somebody at home that does. Hello, you're on the air. Okay, let's go through the drill one more time. Hello, click, click, buzz, buzz. There it is. Hello.
A little red-haired girl.
You're right. A little redhead girl. Now, all of you who had your hands up, was that it? I didn't know that. Hey, what is your name, please, caller?
My name's Jim Madison.
Jim, will you choose a number for us from 1 through 70, please?
Number 42.
42. Thank you, Jim. Where are you, 42? Gentleman over there. Did you know?
No, I didn't.
Are you with him? Yes. Did you know? Ah, the heck with him then. Nah, Jim picked the number. Who are you?
Mike Barrick.
Where are you from, Mike?
From Southgate.
Thanks for being with us. You're the winner. We'll take care of you in just a minute. And there we go. If there's any information that you heard on today's program that you'd like repeated, a telephone number, an address, a book title, or how you can make a beard from bees, it'll be on our hotline right after the program today. Well, not right after, actually beginning at 11:30. And information from today's show, I guess, will be there for the entire weekend. As you see, the hotline is 298-6700. We'll be right back.
This time of year seems to bring out the ghosts and goblins. Coming up next, we'll hear of some real-life hauntings that don't go away after Halloween.
What we accomplished in the last year at Sinai Hospital can't really be expressed by saying we performed 500 open-heart surgeries, or that we saved the lives of 351 critically ill newborns, or that we pioneered dozens of new diagnostic techniques. There's only one statistic that expresses what we accomplished last year. We made possible 23,766 homecomings. This is Sinai, using all we know to make you well.
Mom, can I have some Sunny Delight?
Nothing else invites you like.
Aw, you want to talk about it?
Nothing else can make things bright.
Yeah.
Nothing else delights you like Sunny Delight.
The Detroit Hearing and Speech Center, a Torch Drive agency, offers various services to hearing and speech-impaired adults and children in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Your child may have a hearing problem and you might not realize it. The Detroit Hearing and Speech Center can help. Call 341-1353.
The new FM radio station, W Light 93. It's light music and less talk. W Light plays more music, more Neil Diamond, Streisand, Mathis, Kenny Rogers, and a lot less talk. Try it tomorrow. The new W Light at 93 FM.
Announcing Dobbs Furniture's 1985 Extra Sale. Save 17 to 62% on everything. Extra selection, terms, sales help, and extra discounts of 17 to 62%. And for 3 days only, take an extra 7% off every already discounted price tag. Like this beautiful dining room. That's right, an extra 7% off everything. But there is no extra time, so hurry. It all ends Monday at all Dobbs locations.
Thank you. Well, Halloween is the time of the year when children and adults alike dress up in strange costumes and pretend they're someone or something that they're not. Ghosts and goblins are on the children's minds. Certainly, many myths have sprung up around this particular day, and certain mystic feelings are there. Here to talk about Halloween and what it really means, where it came from, and indeed, ghosts in general, is a gentleman who has done a great deal of research in this field. He's a parapsychologist. Welcome, Dr. Hans Holzer to Kelly & Company. Hans, Halloween means what? All Hallows Eve?
Correct. It's really the pagan equivalent of All Souls Day, which follows November 1. There's really no difference except that the pagans were there ahead of Christianity, and they celebrated the changing of the seasons from the summer to the winter half of the year. And in the old pagan Anglo-Saxon Celtic religion called the Old Religion, which we know as witchcraft, white witchcraft that is, simply the celebration consisted in, at midnight, opening the gates to the other side of the world so that the spirits of the dead could converse with the living. And that is how ghosts got into the act, really, basically. The idea that the spirits can, in fact, talk to the living at that particular time. But Halloween, which we celebrate with dressing up and with candy and with, well, you know...
trick-or-treating.
Trick-or-treat and all this. That is a development in relatively modern times. aided and abetted by, I would think, the toy and candy manufacturers.
I think so.
And which bears very little resemblance to what it's all about.
What is it all about, then?
It's a serious holiday in the pagan calendar, marking the beginning of winter, and also the changing of the seasons, and a kind of thinking about death and transfiguration and all those things. It's
because of the death of the leaves, I suspect.
Yeah, it's a seasonal holiday, and nothing more than that.
Nothing more
and,
than that.
you know, you have all kinds of weird notions, of course, unless you happen to know. And I've spent a lot of time doing a documentary, which still, after 10 years, isn't finished, on the witchcraft movement, on the neo-pagan movements, good, bad, and indifferent. And
all right, let's talk about witchcraft for a minute. You know, we know the popular conception, we all do, the witch riding the broom and the cone cap and all that stuff.
And the black cat, don't forget
yes,
that.
Black.
Yes.
And you mentioned there's two kinds of witchcraft?
There's only one kind, because there's no such thing as black witchcraft. That's another. Black witchcraft and warlocks are strictly Hollywood. They're... I know, I miss them too, personally.
Yeah.
But basically, witchcraft is Wiccacraft, which is the old religion of England and Scandinavia, Wicca. There is a tiny and very vociferous movement, if that's what you call it, called Satanism, which has nothing to do with witchcraft. It's a perversion of witchcraft. To witchcraft, Satanism is what atheism is to Christianity. It's the perversion. It's the taking the trimmings and using them for their own purpose. And satanic groups exist. There are the real ones you and I will never meet because they're killers, they're murderers, and they're insane, like the Mansons. And then there's the would-be satanic group, mainly very young people who get the thrill of dressing up in black robes and inverted pentagrams.
And it's baloney that we've heard, playing records backwards.
It's all B-U-double-L.
Balderdash.
Yes, that's the word we're looking for. You pronounce it a little differently from me, but I'm from New York, so yes, we cleaned that up. Basically, there is nothing to that except in the mind of the one who practices it.
Do you mean that witches cannot cast evil spells?
They can't even turn you and I into frogs. Now, personally, I don't want to be a frog.
No,
no, what witchcraft, above all, is a form of self-fulfillment. Through 4 books and a documentary and countless television work, I have found that the main thing about witchcraft, and it's a very sincere belief, is that God is a woman, the mother goddess. They believe in the deity being female, which is all to the good, frankly, because you and I know that women are much smarter than men, and I don't care what anybody says.
Certainly boss here. Wait a minute. He's just trying to curry favor with this audience.
Never mind. It's not that they have done anything. That's the way nature arranged it.
Women are smarter.
Right.
They must be. They live longer and we work harder and we die sooner.
Yes, and we have more fun, but on the other hand, but you know, so it all balances in nature. But basically, what I'm saying is that the old religion of England and Scandinavia believes God is a lady, believes in reincarnation, believes also in the environment, into ecology, all the things that are essentially very positive. They do not know a thing about the devil. That is the invention of the medieval church.
Well, then all of this really sprang from a harvest, successful or not, preparation for the winter, celebration of the fact that it was a good harvest and a good year, and the death of a season and the beginning of another.
Yeah, I mean, they're all very nice people in the old days. I mean, they had a little sex in the fields, which may be inconvenient, but it's apparently worked for the fields.
Certainly dirty.
Yeah, well, but
dusty, anyhow.
Yeah, well, you know, there's all kinds of chances you take.
A lot of straw sticking out of the ears, I guess.
Yes, well, not only out of the ears, but all kinds of possibilities, yes. But they did it, you know, they were having that thing, and, you know, they were sort of rolling with it. But today, you know, well, you know, enjoying it. Today, they don't do that anymore. You see, they have now, their celebrations are more symbolic.
What do you mean they don't do that anymore? You certainly are from New York, Doctor.
Well, you know.
Okay.
The fields.
They do here in Michigan, boy. Hooray, hooray, it's the 1st of May. Remember that one? Guess what? Starts today. Well, and I guess there are no such things as ghosts and all that either?
Oh, yes, there are ghosts. Heavens, yes. I mean, that's the wrong word, perhaps, but there are ghosts. Well,
apparitions?
Well, I have spent, I don't know how many years in parapsychology, and Of course they are ghosts, and in fact there's photographic evidence of apparitions. They are people, they are not devils, and they are not monsters. I mean, Ghostbusters aside, you know, there are parts of people when somebody passes on in shock and isn't aware of this transition called physical death, then something happens.
That's one of
This
the photographs.
for instance.
Is that a ghost?
That's, as a matter of fact, 3 ghosts is taken on the test condition by a doctor, a medical doctor, Dr. von Salze, on a golf course in California, and this happens to be 3 monks.
Playing through.
Playing through, and they happen to be enveloped by flames because in 1532, and that's a long story I won't go into, they were burned for being heretics by fellow monks. Those were charming times.
Yeah. Let's see that again, please.
Yeah.
Have you lost it?
I'm going to walk the other way.
There they are. There they are.
No, here they are.
Now, these guys were burnt. Was this the location where there's now a golf course? Where they?
Yes, yes.
I see.
And the interesting part about it is the Historical Society insisted there had never been any monks there. And I was originally a trained historian, and I don't take anybody's word for anything anymore. So I went to the museum in New York, the Hispanic Society, and there found an original broadside, which is a document printed at the time, and there was a story about a group of the Franciscan monks having gone off into the wilderness of Northern California and written to the Spanish crown complaining about mistreatment of the Indians. And the Spanish crown, instead of doing something about it, sent them the Dominicans, which were the Inquisition, had them burned. And this is a fact. And they're apparently still walking. It's a long walk.
And you can take, what is this?
Well, this is the white thing on the right. It's taken in a house in Ireland. You can see it, you know, just barely on this one, but it's a white shadow of a woman servant who wasn't told she was dead, and she kept on serving the master day in, day out, walking through the walls.
She wasn't told she was dead?
No, she hadn't been informed.
You think she could figure it out herself?
Well, yeah, I figured because she wasn't getting any wages anymore.
Right, no payday.
But she didn't look for them either, come to think of it.
Can these creatures reach out and do you harm?
First of all, they're not creatures, they're
not
people.
Creatures,
yeah, but
apparitions.
they're not aware of you and I, barely aware, because they are so caught up in these thought forms. They are part of the personality that stays behind when the physical body is dissolved, and it is not. These people are unable to cope with what they are. I mean, they're in trouble.
But they don't necessarily come out and do their thing more than others on other days of the year, on Halloween.
No, that's a fantasy, of course.
Fantasy.
But they're there all the time, day in and night. They don't walk at midnight. They walk all hours of the day.
Not in the full moon or anything like that.
No, none of that. It's very romantic, and I love it. But the truth of the matter is, apparitions are very real. They are not supernatural. They're part of human experience.
I saw some hands. Now, you guys, it's all up to you. But just before we began this, a goodly number of you said you believed in ghosts. Do any of you have an experience to which you can attribute this firm belief? And if so, may I see your hands? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well, do you mind talking about it? Think about it. We'll take a break. We'll be back with Dr. Holzer in 2 minutes and see if they want to talk about their ghostly experience.
Next week, veteran actress Katherine Hellman talks about the surge of Golden Girls on TV this year and why America is starting to laugh about growing older.
Announcing the Fava half-price sale. Right now, buy any pair of shoes at Fava, get a second pair at half price. Better hurry.
Buy a pair of fashion boots, get casuals at half price. Buy a pair of hot pumps, go buy stickers at half price.
Buy a pair of country boots, get country boots at half price. Pick out any pair of Fava shoes, and we'll give you half off on a second pair of equal or lower price. Now through November 3rd.
Buy a pair of Jazz Oxfords, get flats at half price. Buy a pair of aerobic shoes, get aerobic shoes at half price. Buy a pair of boots, get pumps at half price.
Half price sale at Fava now.
Time to make the donuts.
Owning a Dunkin' Donuts is no piece of cake.
Time to make the donuts.
Because you work night and day making donuts. That's why they're so fresh all the time.
The donuts.
And come in up to 52 varieties, more than any supermarket. At Dunkin' Donuts, it's always time to make the donuts.
Regular dental visits are important to your good health. Low-cost dental services are available for low-income individuals and their families. For more information, contact the Tri-County Dental Health Council, a Torch Drive agency, at 559-7767.
It's exciting, electrifying, a circus, a carnival, a celebration. The event of the year, it's New York Carpet World's 59th anniversary with mammoth carpet savings and giveaways galore. Mystery specials, free trips, prizes, savings for everyone. Padding's free with any carpet. It costs you nothing. $2 a yard rebate on Bigelow carpets. With Mohawk carpets, telephones free. Labor's free with selected Salem carpets. Installation costs you nothing. Exciting giveaways and store-wide anniversary sale savings till Saturday night at New York Carpet World.
This is Doris Biscoe. Tonight on Channel 7, 6 o'clock Action News, Jerry Stanicky will introduce you to a man who changes personalities every day, and the changes leave many of you laughing. And on Friday Feast, we'll have a recipe that's just perfect for this time of year. It's something the whole family can enjoy. We'll have those stories, sports, and weather, all tonight on Action News at 6.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're back with Dr. Holzer, and this is one of the folks that says you've had a ghostly experience?
Similar, I think. When I was 14, my dad's mother died, and we were living in Missouri at the time, and they flew to Dundee, Michigan to her funeral, and they mailed a box of things that belonged to my grandmother home before they flew back. And when they got home, that night my mother had these little cards, I guess they're death cards, little death certificates or whatever they are, and I asked her if I could have one, and she said to talk to her in the morning, and she would give me one then. She had to mail a bunch of them out. Well, I looked with her all that morning, and we could not find them, and I saw where she put them. Well, that day, we forgot about it, and that same day, the UPS man came with that box that they had mailed home, and those cards were on the very top of that box when we opened it up.
Yeah, they like to do that, little things like that. It's when somebody passes on, they would like you to know that things aren't exactly the way they were supposed to be.
I didn't know what the message was, and if it would have just happened to my mother, I would have thought she was crazy. But it's just...
You saw it. You experienced
I was there with her, and I experienced it too, and we never did understand what the message was or what it meant.
Simple. The message is simple, to let you know that life goes on.
That's
Simple
it.
as that.
Scary business. Gentleman here's had an experience. Yes, sir. Would you stand?
Yes. A couple of years ago in Connecticut, in a house, and they said this special chair is for the ghost. And don't sit in it. And I said, okay. And the house was built in 17-something. And they showed me through the house, and they had many different stores around the area of Connecticut. And they said, don't sit in that chair, and don't close that door. So, being a Michigander, I'm not from Missouri, but I have to be proven to myself. I closed the door.
Sat in the chair.
No, I didn't sit in the chair,
Oh.
though. I didn't go that far.
Okay.
They showed me the rest of the house. It was about a 6-story house, and we went up and down. We come back to that door, and it was open. And the chair was actually swaying.
Well, if you would have sat into it, it would have been kind of a hot seat, wouldn't it? Yes.
I think so.
But these things do happen. There's a chair in Ashlawn, which is near Washington, that keeps swinging back and forth all the time. It used to be President Monroe's personal chair.
Hans, have you ever, in all of the years that you have, and we're making gags here, but the truth is that this is a very serious research project and ongoing for you. Have you ever encountered a situation that you find totally inexplicable, that you cannot explain?
Well, I'm congenitally incapable of accepting anything as not explicable, because I think there's always an answer if you look for it. No, I've never been faced with a situation that I could not sooner or later find a reason for. But the reason includes, of course, a firm conviction that there is an ongoing dimension to which we all go.
Have you ever been in fear?
In fear?
Frightened.
Only in fear of human ignorance and human stupidity, which occasionally crops up even among the best. But basically, no, because I enter this openly. I come as a friend to those on the other side of life. And a couple of times I have been in a kind of a tight spot when they get mad at me. But then you keep calm, and you just remember that you must be in charge, or else you lose everything.
Have you ever felt a malevolence, an evil
Oh, yes, I have. In the Amityville house, it wasn't particularly pleasant. But I don't allow these things to prevail. Sure, the poor Indian chief in the Amityville house wasn't exactly a happy person,
Yes.
having had his skull cut off from his skeleton. You know, it's not very pleasant, especially when you're still in it.
I'll drink to that. After this show, I may drink to anything. Yes, ma'am.
There's a rocking chair that rocks in my attic only when I'm home by myself, and I've gone up there to see. Don't rock when I get there, but as I leave and get downstairs, it starts to rock again.
You have a relative, probably. He doesn't want to be left alone.
Oh, okay. I'll see about that.
Has that rocking chair been in the family for a while?
I don't know. I can't. I just hear it.
You just hear it.
Yeah, and I go up to see. And when I get there, I can't hear anything, and I only hear it when I'm home by myself.
Have you ever seen the chair rocking?
Yeah.
Try to find out whether one of your passed-on relatives is just kind of lonely, because I'm serious about this. People who pass on and don't want to continue passing on hang around, and they like attention.
Okay.
Okay, I remember I was small, and I was just about 10 years old, and my brother had been acting up, so I said, well, I'm going to tell Mother to get you. My parents is dead, both of them. And I went to her picture. She had a large picture with about 8 by 10. And I said, okay, Mother, Ted's been acting up, so you should give him a whooping. And so that night, something whipped him. Because when he woke up, I mean, he had whips all over him. And he was screaming and hollering, but nobody was there. So what did you account that to?
I can match this kind of story all 1,000 times over. Just try to understand that when you pass on into the next stage of existence, you have all your foibles, your personality, your likes and dislikes, your weaknesses and your strength intact. You don't turn into something ethereal just because you're over there.
Yes, ma'am. Would you stand, please?
My father died in the afternoon. My mother and I came home and found him. That night I slept on the sofa. Middle of the night, I sat up, and my dad was standing there talking to me, telling me everything was going to be all right, don't worry. 2 seconds later, my mother flew out of the bedroom and told her, Dad said everything's going to be all right, you're going to take care of me.
Yes, why not? Of course, this is a very common thing, actually.
I mean, I couldn't see through him, and I saw him. He was there.
Oh, that's another thing about ghosts being ethereal and sort of, you can see through them and they float. All this is not true.
Well, why can't you take their picture then, instead of seeing these things like
But I have, and others have.
Well, those are the 2 things you just showed us.
Well,
I mean, that could be overexposed film.
No, it cannot. Show it again, if you believe.
He's got them put away. You got any yellows left up there, Mason? I mean, it could be...
How can you say that?
It could be light struck. It could be fogged, as we
I have 50 photographs of apparitions taken under test conditions.
There's the 3
You don't
guys.
see the
I mean, you
figures?
could, you know, the film could have gone partially unrolled, and the 3 monks turned out to be a thumb.
It didn't. That's the whole point. This was taken under test condition by a medical doctor. Now, this doesn't look like overexposure. It's figures. You can see that. The heads and arms and all that. And I can match this with dozens of others. Sure, of course. Some years ago...
Are you an imaginative or an unimaginative person? How would you categorize yourself?
Very unimaginative. I'm very cautious. I'm not from Missouri, but I feel that way. No.
It's got to be proven.
Well, it's got to be reasonably proven. But remember, the will to disbelieve is 10 times stronger than the will to believe, because it upsets us to think that there is another side to life when we die. A lot of people don't want to hear about that.
Doggone it, our time is gone. I'm so fascinated by this, and I wanted to get into reincarnation. Hans, you're in town, aren't you appearing somewhere in the area?
I did last night. I spoke.
He had one of the things that interests him is reincarnation, because he said you feel all these things are allied. And his current book is Life Beyond Life, the evidence for reincarnation. Putting it another way, previous lives and lives in the future. Fascinating, Hans. Always good to have you here. I hope that you'll be in our area again real soon. Let's pick it up where we left off.
And I hope your Halloween is a pleasant one and all your witches are friendly.
Dr. Hans Holzer. Right back.
Who says growing old means rocking chairs and knitting? On Monday, we'll discuss the way America views aging.
It's R.J. Lee's Sealy Knockout Sale. We're knocking the the stuffing out of mattress prices. Here's the winner. $198 buys you this Sealy mattress, box spring, brass-plated headboard, and steel frame. $198 complete in twin, full, even queen size, any size, all 4 pieces complete. $198. And in the blue corner, great complete deals on Sealy Posturepedic. The winner and still discount Sealy champion, R.J. Leeds. Well, you couldn't do better if you were family.
Don't miss the incredible Mitzi Gaynor live at the fabulous Premier Center, November 5th through the 9th. Mitzi Gaynor is one dynamic show you'll never forget. Tickets for Mitzi Gaynor are on sale at the Premier Center box office, Hudson's, all Ticket World outlets, AAA offices, and by phone at 264-1111. That's 264-1111. That's Mitzi Gaynor live at the Premier Center, November 5th through the 9th. Also coming to the Premier Center on November 21st through the 23rd, it's Dionne Warwick. Tickets for all Premier Center shows are available by phone at 264-1111.
I lost my job over a year ago. Now I do this. It's not a bad job, but I'm sure glad to be working again. Boy, was I in debt. I didn't like the idea of losing my home, my car, having my utilities shut off, or having my wages garnished. I needed help. I called the law offices of Joel Goodman. He helped me to understand and use the laws of bankruptcy to get my life right on the track again.
For help, call attorney Joel Goodman at 399-9033.
Hi. You're late again.
Yeah?
You've been working too hard.
Right.
You still got that cold?
Yeah.
Hey, how long since your last checkup?
Checkup?
Yeah, I want you to get one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Move to Health Alliance Plan. It's for people you love.
Let me say something. Thank you. We've got the tape of Max Evans and his bees being vacuumed from his face, which you'll see in just a moment. Go ahead, hon.
Monday, Pearl Bailey will tell us how a psychic dream predicted the train wreck that she was in.
Maybe
and
Hans ought to
laughing,
hang
sock
around.
it to me girl Judy Karn is going to join
Yeah,
us.
Judy will be here. Tuesday, consumer shopper Sharon Stein will be back with us with bargain hunting tips throughout this area.
Wednesday, join us to help celebrate our 8th anniversary when 2 members of our audience host the show.
And that's all you and I know about this whole
That's
show. You
right.
notice these clowns here aren't talking about it again?
That's right. We're gonna put in
Thursday,
the audience.
Norm Knight, Mr. Music, will be here to tell us the truth and the trivia about this world of rock and roll.
And Friday,
including music
Catherine
video.
Hellman, who plays Mona, the mom on Who's the Boss, will be here.
She is a nice lady, too. She was here a few
Oh,
months
she
ago.
was
She's
here about 2 months
character,
ago.
boy.
Yeah.
Thank you for today. Have a good day.
Yeah.
And
Are we going to
see you Monday. Bye-bye. That's Martin Luther.
For tickets to see Kelly and Company live, just call 298-6161. Any information on today's topics can be reached on the Kelly and Company hotline by calling 298-6700. Ground transportation for some Kelly and Company guests provided by Statewide Limousine. Hotel accommodations for some Kelly and Company guests provided by the Sheraton Oaks Novi. Maryland's clothes provided by Roz and Sherm of Bloomfield Plaza. Maryland shoes provided by Sandalar and Sandalar 2 of Applegate Square in Southfield. Hair and cosmetics provided by the Mario Max Salon of Bloomfield Plaza, Birmingham and Farmington Hills. John's clothes provided by the Claymore Shop of Birmingham and by the Ralph Lauren Polo Shop of Birmingham. Plant decor provided by Weber Brothers Greenhouse, 10 Mile Road, west of the zoo. Join John and Marilyn on Good Afternoon Detroit when they'll be welcoming Harry Belafonte to the Motor City, and we'll be hearing the hot sounds of the Teen Angels. That's live at 4 on 7. Editor